You're right on time for Newswatch on this 5th day of June 2023. A very good evening to you and welcome to the broadcast. My name is Kennedy Kimani and Elizabeth Onjiku will be assisting with the sign language interpretation. Now, Kenya has today joined the rest of the world in marking the World Environment Day, a day set aside by the United Nations to raise awareness and act on pressing environmental issues. As part of the commemoration, the European Union in Kenya has launched its Generation Green Climate campaign to engage the youth in activities geared towards helping Kenya to reduce plastic pollution and environmental conservation. Our very own Grace Ahati begins our bulletin with the following story.
As Kenya today marked the World Environment Day, the European Union in Kenya (EU) launched its Generation Green Climate campaign geared towards highlighting its climate priorities and engaging young Kenyans in positive conversations on unlocking opportunities in the green economy. This campaign coincides with this year's theme Beat Plastic Pollution and is part of the EU's efforts to provide solutions to plastic pollution in Kenya.
On how plastic affects environment.
The youth-focused Green campaign, which also marks the beginning of the EU Climate Diplomacy Week, involves pupils from various schools in Nairobi County who will be taken through a week-long creative workshop on how to recycle plastic to make puppets. Today, the pupils were taught how to make puppets from plastic waste as a way to promote green transition. They also got a chance to watch an environmental conservation puppet show titled Leo's Search for a New Home. Speaking during the event, European Union Ambassador to Kenya Henrietta Geiger noted that the EU is committed to supporting Kenya to transition to a green economy and mitigate the effects of climate change.
The European Union has been a global leader in trying to address climate change, mitigation and adaptation. And our priority for our cooperation in Kenya is to support the transition of Kenya to a green economy and a green future. And this is not just about saving the planet. It's very much about creating sustainable jobs and livelihoods, and to help Kenya, of course, to mitigate and adapt to the changes that are coming due to what the climate is going through right now. So,
Ambassador Geiger further noted that as much as plastics are useful, they can have a lot of negative effects on the environment and health. Hence, the EU is rallying other countries to join in the fight against plastics.
Of course, we all know and we use plastic every day in our economy, in our daily lives. It has become very important for us. Sometimes our shoes are made of plastic, or our shirts. Many things are made out of plastic. This thing here is plastic. But we all know that it's useful to have plastic, but it can have a lot of negative impact, negative effects, not only on the environment, but also on our health. For example, you know that when the water gets hot in this plastic bottle is emitting plastic, and you drink plastic with your water. So never drink a bottle that has been lying in the sun for some time.
Addressing the pupils who attended the event, Henrietta urged them to be the future environmental champions.
And children, believe me, we adults have not been very good at preserving our environment and our planet. We have not been good. And all that you see in the damage has been created by us. But we are counting on you to do a better job in the future.
Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Grace Ahati.
Thank you so much, Grace, for that report. Moving on, governors have been tasked to constitute committees that will ascertain payable pending bills in the counties. Speaking after a meeting with county governors, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said that the governors have 2 weeks to verify their bills and make payment plans. As Tess Njenga now reports, the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council has come up with several resolutions pertaining the county governments.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has given governors liberty to verify their pending bills by appointing a committee that will sit and make a decision on ineligible pending bills. Pending bills were defined as valid invoices properly delivered and are outstanding at the end of a financial year. The process to ascertain payable bills has been allocated 2 weeks and 1 more week for negotiation between the Controller of Budget and the counties.
Many governors have found huge bills that cannot be explained and that have no supporting documents, and they are not legally bound to honor such bills because they will be held accountable if they pay bills that are not supported and that were not procured in a regular manner. We have therefore, the meeting has mandated governors to constitute committees to interrogate all the bills and ascertain the ones that are payable.
On the status of cash disbursement to the counties, the Deputy President noted that the outstanding amount is about 94 billion shillings, with 305 billion already released. He also noted that the National Treasury is experiencing a strain and will disburse funds in the coming months, adding that the government will not borrow for recurrent expenditure.
We have explained to the governors the strain that the National Treasury is undergoing, and they have understood, and after lengthy negotiations, we have agreed that the National Treasury will disburse by the end of this week monies owed to the counties for the month of April. We have further agreed that by 19th of June, the money owed to the counties for the month of May will be disbursed.
Meanwhile, the IBEC meeting has determined that the Equalization Fund appropriation bill before Parliament be evaluated.
Governors have raised issues that there are some counties that have similar climatic conditions as to those that are benefiting and they were left out. We have agreed that there will be a meeting to interrogate and review the criteria that was used to identify those counties that should be beneficiaries of the Equalization Fund, with a view of ensuring there is fairness and equity.
Among other issues raised were the privatization of sugar companies, haphazard licensing of mining companies, and training on tax administration diagnostic tool.
The Ministry of Agriculture has submitted 5 cases that were before courts and concluded and dismissed. 3 are still pending. Again, the Ministry of Agriculture has considered that through public participation, the people of Kenya and farmers in the sugar belt are not very keen on privatization, and the county governments and the people in those counties prefer a leasing model.
And as Parliament gears up to debate the controversial Finance Bill 2023, Deputy President Gachagua was quick to caution the county bosses against taking divergent sides on the proposals contained in the bill.
It is in that spirit that I've also asked them to consider and to appreciate that they are in the same boat with the national government in matters revenue collection, that if we don't collect enough revenue, there will be no money available to the county governments. So we have requested them, even as others criticize measures that have been taken in the finance bill, the governors should be cautious of joining the choir, because if we don't collect enough revenue, they are the ones who will be having a problem because there will be no money for disbursement.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has reiterated the government's commitment to pass the 2023 finance bill so as to facilitate government's revenue, which will trickle down to the counties. He has also maintained that the government will not borrow any further so as to maintain recurrent expenditure. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Tess Njenga.
Thank you so much, Tess, for that report. Now, President William Ruto has said that the current development financing is deficient and dotted with discrimination. Speaking today during the opening of the second session of the United Nations Habitat Assembly at the UN complex in Nairobi, the head of state noted that the prevalent unfairness has exacerbated the vulnerability of the majority of humanity, calling for the correction of this systemic injustice for effective achievement of sustainable development goals.
A key barrier to our aspiration for sustainable urbanization happens to be the very impediment to efficient, sustainable climate action in the global South and Africa. and that is sufficient and affordable financing. As a result, we are unable to effectively pursue all the opportunities in sustainable urbanization and leverage them to promote the broader agenda of economic transformation, climate action, and sustainable development. Our discussions must therefore pay due attention to the fact that the prevalent unjustness of the international financial architecture and the discriminatory practices inherent in development financing are iniquitous insofar as they directly and indirectly exacerbate the vulnerability of the majority of humanity.
Crossing borders now, and investigations are underway in the eastern state of Odisha in India as 300 injured passengers await identification in various hospitals in the area. The crash, described as the deadliest rail crash in over 2 decades, left 275 dead and more than 1,100 injured. The accident is believed to have been set off by an error in the electric system, causing a deadly collision between 2 passenger trains and a stationary freight train. As of last night, train operations have resumed after 51 hours of rescue and restoration work. Let's have our international news outlook by our very own Joy Muchache.
Russian Defense Ministry announced that it had intercepted a potential Ukrainian attack in the eastern province of Donetsk. The Russian Defense Ministry spokesperson, Igor Konashenkov, said they had to push back a large-scale Ukrainian attack at 5 points in southern Donetsk. Konashenkov reported the deaths of 250 Ukrainian personnel, while 16 Ukrainian tanks, 3 infantry fighting vehicles, and 21 armored combat vehicles were destroyed. And lastly, 2 Afghan primary schools reported the presence of unknown people who entered the schools and are suspected to have poisoned 60 students in the Naswan Ekabad Aab school and 17 students in the Naswan Faizabad school. Though no clear perpetrators have been identified, the poisoning is thought to stem from the Taliban administration's 2021 ban on the education of girls beyond the 6th grade leading up to university. Neighboring Iran has also reported an estimation of 13,000 female students poisoned by noxious flames. The students in Afghanistan are undergoing treatment in a nearby hospital awaiting investigations. The administration is not sure which chemical was used, but suspect that the orchestrator had a personal grudge and paid for the classrooms to be poisoned before the students came in. And that's it for our international outlook. My name is Joy Muchache, Hope TV.
Thank you so much, Joy, for that international outlook. Now, we still have more news after the break, and also our feature for tonight, a special feature by our very own Daisy Love on green classrooms. You don't want to miss this. See you on the other side.
The Asian community in Kenya has been nationally recognized as the 44th tribe of the people of this great nation.
For me, God is real in Christianity. I talk to Him, He talks to me. I fail, He forgives me.
When I first read the first book of Genesis, it gave me an orderly sense of accounts of creation. Day 1 is what He does. Day 2, He creates this. Day 3.
Every third Thursday of the month, we bring you Asia Testify,
where we will be listening to life-transforming stories of Asian believers who have walked with the Lord. Only here on Hope TV. Look and live.
Do you toss and turn at night struggling to sleep? Or do you struggle to stay awake during the day? You are not alone. Many people suffer from sleep disorders around the world, and it can come with devastating impact if not checked. But there is hope. On our next episode of Health Check, we'll be talking to a clinical physiologist who will help us navigate through different types of sleep disorders. Be prepared to learn how to get a good night's sleep. That's on Health Check this Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. exclusively on Hope TV.
Welcome back. Now, today is World Environment Day, and our very own Daisy Love brings us a captivating documentary that sheds light on the power of education in addressing environmental conservation. Join us as we explore the impact of education in Nairobi through the lens of green classrooms, the impact of education on environmental conservation.
Environmental conservation is an important issue that is tackling Nairobi today, and education is a powerful tool that has come to educate people right from schools all the way to universities. Today we delve into how environmental education is playing that crucial role in creating awareness through environmental education. Join me.
Nairobi, the capital of Kenya, is known for its fast-paced lifestyle and growing economy. But with the growth comes a responsibility to preserve the natural resources that have sustained the city for centuries. In an effort to address this challenge, new initiatives are underway to educate the next generation about the importance of environmental conservation through capacity building and courses offered in institutions of higher learning. I would like to call them green classrooms, and they are changing the way young people in Nairobi think about their role in preserving their city's natural beauty. One initiative leading the pack in environmental education is the 3Es Experience organization, through one of its mentorship projects that offer non-academic skills to pupils in schools.
We have a program called Waste Free Park Initiative, where we are promoting green parks through sensitizing visitors against polluting or littering in the parks, and we give them litter bags so that we ensure that any waste that they get into that gets into the park actually doesn't remain in the park. It's safely discarded, and we issue out litter bags as a solution, and also we do a lot of sensitization so that visitors can be able to understand the dangers of plastic pollution or any other form of waste to the park, because we don't want to get into a situation where we are harming our ecosystem, leading to we've endangered the wildlife that leads to threats of extinction. What we are very proud of is, one, we ensure that we offer quality education. Once you give someone quality education, they have a proper understanding, then they can be able to take the necessary action to tackle climate change. So from there, you'll find people are able to change their attitudes and behavior, and just take that next step to ensure that they participate in coming up with solutions, either at an individual level in their own personal life and within the general part of the community.
Green classrooms provide students with hands-on experiences that connect them to the environment. From tree planting activities to wildlife conservation projects, students learn about the importance of preserving natural resources and the impacts their actions have on the environment. From schools to universities, education has been instrumental in promoting environmental conservation in Nairobi. One of the universities leading in this area is African Nazarene University, which, apart from offering environmental courses, holds an annual event known as Green Week that creates environmental awareness through workshops, among other activities.
The environment affects every aspect of life. Right now, we're in the middle of a drought in the country. That's something that's climatic and environmental, and that education, or someone will come along and bring out innovative solutions to ensure that maybe to reduce the impacts of this, and also how can we, reduce things such as climate change that is ongoing. In terms of our wildlife, conserving them and making sure that they last through the generations. Definitely we need to know about their ecology, about the spaces they need, about what other species should they be living with, and how do we support them. So definitely environmental education matters a lot.
Green Week, also known as Creation Care Week, brings together students, conservationists, and environmental authors from all walks of life to tackle pertinent environmental issues.
Climate Fest is a workshop around 2 or 3 hours that really explains the causes to consequences of climate change, and is a really useful tool for any kind of people. It's really accessible to everyone, to students, to young professionals. And we've trained, with Vivienne from Freeze Experience, over 400 people in Kenya. And it ranges from young professionals, entrepreneurs, journalists, students, and even school kids as well. So the challenges we've undertaken so far is, so sometimes we train students and there's a lack of follow-up when it comes to facilitating afterwards. So basically when you are part of a workshop at the Climate Fresque, then you can be trained with the association in France online, and then you can become facilitator and have your own workshops. So we've had a bunch of students, around 10 to 15, that have been so good in doing this and that actually have led their own workshops. But sometimes we kind of lose track of the people that participated in the workshop that don't become facilitators afterwards and join the community. The other challenges have been, I think, financial resources, but also human resources. We really would like to have an unlimited reach, and sometimes it's more Nairobi focused, and we would really like to go across the country and recruit more facilitators and go over the barrier of the language and understand a different context.
These green classrooms have played a vital role in empowering young people with knowledge and skills, creating a new generation of environmental leaders who will make Nairobi a better, greener place for years to come.
Issues of environment is rampant, and we're increasingly going to a red light right now. So we're having, and climate change is one thing that really affects how the environment is working right now. So you find that issues of poverty is actually something that we've been talking about, but then there's a very huge correlation to how environment affects this. So food security issues have been coming up really hugely. But then now there's this question of how we're able to mitigate or adapt to this if we're not able to know what's going on. So environmental education is very important for young people, for our learners to be able to understand what's going on around them. Be able to relate them with the day-to-day issues that they go to. So is it unemployment, is it food insecurity, is it poverty, and then how they're able to kind of like solve both of them. So at the same time, there's a sustainability aspect to it where they're able to use the resources they have right now, conserve it, and still be able to utilize it in a way that the future generation can still be able to use it.
Every semester we make it a point to have some kind of field trip where the students can go out, learn about the environment practically, and also meet environmental practitioners. They get the chance to interact with them, ask questions about their area, and decide for themselves, is this a path I really want to take or not? So that is our approach. Of course, there's classroom learning, but we supplement it with field.
So we started with school kids in primary school a long time ago, more closer to Masailand. And it was really good to see different contexts with these kids. And I think we're really going to try and go through universities to reach in foreign countries, because they have these green weeks sometimes. So it would be really good to go through the university branch. So again, to have students that themselves can train their peers on this topic.
While learning about environment, one key aspect that came out really strongly was the issue of climate change, because it's something that's been in conversation for a very long time. So one thing part of the activities, the conferences I was going to, the activities I was doing with other young people, I saw there was a gap in education. So most of the conversations that happen on boardroom levels or on a global platform weren't really being translated to the ground. And a lot of young people were doing actions on the ground, but then now it's also not being translated upwards. So I wanted to be able to kind of like bridge the gap. So a lot of the work I do right now is intergenerational dialogue and engagement, but as well as focusing on youth education. So they're able to understand capacity building on different thematic issues. So even if it's climate change, how is climate change relating to business, for instance? How is it relating to energy issues? How is it relating to, even art? So just being able to help young people understand some of these technical languages that mostly experts who've been there for years get to speak about, and now translating it to what they also do. So there's this correlation between what people, the technical groups, the technical leaders, what they're saying at the top there and what young people are conducting at the ground.
This year we want to focus on universities that are outside Nairobi. That's another step. And also through collaboration with various partners. We are not going to limit ourselves. Actually, we see 3 is experience, 3 is experience international. So engaging with other like-minded people within even our borders, within, East Africa and the general world.
Green classrooms are the future of environmental conservation today in Nairobi. Thank you for watching. I am Daisy Love for Hope TV Newswatch.
The Asian community in Kenya has been nationally recognized as the 44th tribe of the people of this great nation.
For me, God is real in Christianity. I talk to Him, He talks to me. I fail, He forgives me.
When I first read the first book of Genesis, it gave me an orderly sense of accounts of creation. Day 1 is what He does. Day 2, He creates this. Day 3.
Every third Thursday of the month, we bring you Asia Testify,
where we will be listening to life-transforming stories of Asian believers who have walked with the Lord. Only here on Hope TV. Look and live.
Do you toss and turn at night struggling to sleep? Or do you struggle to stay awake during the day? You are not alone. Many people suffer from sleep disorders around the world, and it can come with devastating impact if not checked. But there is hope. On our next episode of Health Check, we'll be talking to a clinical physiologist who will help us navigate through different types of sleep disorders. Be prepared to learn how to get a good night's sleep. That's on Health Check this Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. exclusively on Hope TV.
Welcome back. Now let's get down to business. The Scrap Metal Council has issued a stern warning to scrap metal dealers who export scrap metal illegally through the Lunga Lunga, Malaba and Namanga border points. Speaking during a consultative meeting with Coast Scrap Dealers Association to find a lasting solution to the vandalism menace, the council chairman Francis Mugo said that the council has written to the Inspector General of Police to furnish the council with names of dealers engaging in vandalism. Now, as the world commemorates World Environment Day, insurance brokerage firm Minet Kenya has committed to plant 500,000 trees over the next 5 years as part of the company's broader climate action and sustainability strategy. According to the Minet Group Chief Executive Officer Joseph Msando, the initiative aligns with the ongoing and government's 15 billion tree planting agenda towards climate change mitigation.
We have adopted this particular forest. This is Minette that's adopted this one. And I'm sure many other organizations will do the same as well. And should there be opportunity to adopt further or even collaborate in other ways, this is our first collaborative engagement. And as time goes, we will try and refine it.
And today we are doing 20,000 trees with the Kenya Defence Forces, with the Kenya Forest Service, with Greens of Africa, with Eden Restoration, with the CFA of the Matathia community, and the community at large.
The Office of the First Lady has committed to growing 500 million trees by 2032. And this is responding to the presidential directive and commitment to grow 15 billion trees by 2032.
To some sport in action now, Gor Mahia claimed the top spot of the FKF Premier League table with a 2-0 win over Ulinzi FC at Nyayo Stadium. A first-half brace by midfielder Austin Odhiambo was all the 19-time Kenyan Premier League champions needed to open a 2-point lead at the summit of the log.
Well, first of all, it's almost coming away. I'm really, really pleased. And you've heard me say before that this is a young team and results won't always go our way, but we're trying to build something. And I think today, almost there's part of that first half and part of the second half that almost makes me a little bit emotional as a coach, because there was a real beauty in some of our play. It was beautiful, some of it. And we know that the players, it's within that team. It doesn't happen every week. They're maturing and they're developing, but we're supporting them in that. It's tough when you play for Gore and want to develop because you're always under pressure. But there was parts of that game that truly were beautiful, and you're looking around going, I don't know that I've seen better football being played, not just in Kenya this year, but there was passages of play there and the supporters clearly loved it. But yeah, look, it's a really good day for us.
So naweza sema ni mistakes za wachezaji wenyewe ndo walitufanya mpaka tukalose. After kulose hizo bao mbili nafikiri game imechange ikawa iko neutral. Tu remaining game naweza sema sina nazo wasiwasi kwa sasa, kwa sababu unapata niko na wachezaji wengi ambao wako kwa first team, wako na injuries, so wanapata kurecover ilikuwa ni ngumu. Na unaweza ona kama hizo game ambazo zote zilikuwa zimekuja, ilikuwa ni big match, zote zilikuwa zimekuja kutufuata. So naweza sema tuko kwa luck mbaya, but tunaweza irekebisha na tukacheza vizuri tu.
Now, AC Milan's Zlatan Ibrahimovic has retired from football at the age of 41, bringing to an end one of the modern era's most glittering careers. Ibrahimovic began his second spell with AC Milan in early 2020, having won the Scudetto with them in 2011 and helped them win the title again last season. And as the man himself will put it, indeed, football has retired from Zlatan. And with that comes the tail end of our news tonight. Many thanks to you for watching Newswatch here on Hope TV. On behalf of the whole crew that made this bulletin a success, have yourselves a blessed night. My name is Kennedy Kimani, and Elizabeth Wanjiku has been the sign language interpreter.
The Asian community in Kenya has been nationally recognized as the 44th